Wedding Talk with Mindy and Carol, your insider guide to trends, tips, and stress-free planning.
Welcome to Destination Wedding Talk. I'm Carol.
And I'm Mindy. We're two travel advisors and also wedding planners who plan over 50 destination weddings every year combined.
This podcast, we're going to highlight one of our favorite resorts that we have a really good exclusive promotion with. It's the Majestic Resorts. They're based in the Dominican Republic and also in the Cancun North area, the Costa Mujures area.
Yeah, so in the DR, there's 3 properties, all in one complex. And we'll kind of go into a little bit more about each of the properties because they do not have exchange privileges amongst the 3 of them. And then we're going to talk about the properties in the Costa Mujeres area, which is on an amazing beach. And they have a new property, Majestic Mirage, which will be opening in December, which is currently on some amazing grand opening rates that are not going to last much longer. So you
Exactly.
may want to talk to us about that if you think a Majestic property is the right fit for you.
So let's dive in and let's talk about Punta Cana to start with.
Sure.
What's your favorite one at that resort? What's your favorite portion of that resort?
Oh, I have to say Mirage.
It's mine as well. That is mine as well. But we're kind of the poshy ones. We like the poshy
Yeah,
room. So that's our fault. But but I do like the Mirage. But yes.
yeah. The Mirage is a really pretty resort, but like Elegance is also very nice, and well as Colonial. And Colonial and Elegance have just been going through some remodeling.
Yes.
So all the rooms are fresh and vibrant. So honestly, you really can't go wrong at any of them, depending on your guest budget. And Carol and I can help guide you through that. And what's also nice about that complex is there are a couple of common areas where the nightclub is, the little water park for the kids. So there are some common areas that all 3 properties do share, but you do not have access to the different restaurants in each resort.
Yeah. I liked on the in the one area where they had the rooftop where you could have the private reception on the rooftop and actually do your reception and wedding, or you could have everything up there. That is in the Colonial. I do like that. That was really beautiful.
Yeah, that was the presidential room. And I
Yeah, yeah.
believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Carol, you can be at staying at Mirage, and if you're doing that presidential room, it doesn't matter which resort you're staying at,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Because that's just for the wedding.
Yeah, just for the wedding. That was just if you want that privacy. The views were beautiful. It's not real windy up there. It's for that private wedding that you want, that private wedding, that private reception, everything that you want all in one place. It's not for a huge, huge, huge wedding, but if you want that privacy, you don't want someone walking behind you on the beach, but you still want those views, this is a great location.
Yeah, and then you as a couple get to stay in that presidential suite for the night. So that is nice as well. And it's a nice size space up there. Like you can do your ceremony up there with your cocktail hour and your reception
Yes,
up
yes.
there.
So that's one of one of my, I should say that's probably my favorite for privacy. The beach in the Dominican Republic is absolutely gorgeous. Any beach wedding on any one of the 3 properties is going to be beautiful. Doesn't matter. The backdrop is beautiful there.
Yeah. And this complex is one of the few that has a Catholic chapel on property. So that is really nice for those people that want that Catholic ceremony.
Hmm. Yes, and I think the confusion comes into play. Most of the time, like I said, when someone books theirs, they think they get to play at all 3, and that is not the case as we discussed. So there again, working with one of us will help you decide what resort will work for your vibe, your budget, and your wedding.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those resorts, that's kind of the beginning for Majestic was in the Dominican Republic. That was kind of their beginning of their properties. And they keep their staff is great. The wedding planners there are great to work with. You can't go wrong.
Yeah. Their wedding package is a little unique because it has the package. Um, And then if you reach a certain number of room nights, I believe it's 105, then you get that package complimentary. And that package includes a semi-private dinner.
Mhm.
So if you want like a private cocktail hour, a private reception, that's all done a la carte at a price per person. And in some ways, I actually really like that because you have a little more control on your budget that way,
I do
where
too.
you can do that semi-private dinner and
Mhm.
then just have a dance party
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, I like that because to me, that is you're actually making your own vision of your wedding as you want. If you want to stay with just the simple wedding and want nothing else, that's a great price point because you're going to probably end up with a complimentary wedding. And if it's small enough and you're going to have just a semi, have your own little reception and a semi-private dinner, it's a very, very cost-effective way to have a wedding.
Yeah, and one of the things too that I like about that is if you doing the package and then doing a private reception afterwards, you can do that semi-private dinner another night. They'll allow you to do that another night. So you can do that as kind of like a rehearsal dinner or a
Yeah.
welcome dinner for your guests as well.
Yeah, my couples have used it in the past with their family. It's
Yeah.
a family time dinner and it works great. It really does work great. So yeah, that's the one thing about their property is their wedding packages are really, really nice to work with. And once you have booked your wedding and held your wedding date, you get a little certificate that basically states that your wedding date is held. And then you'll get links that you can start to shop and look at price points, seeing how much the flowers may cost and seeing how much everything costs. So you can start planning in your own mind even before you talk to the planner.
Yeah, and Majestic is one of the resort brands that do not charge a deposit to reserve your wedding date, which is really nice. So there's no upfront money for you to reserve your date. But I
Right.
will say it is a very, very popular resort brand. So dates do fill up fast.
Yes.
Some of the locations that they have on each of the properties, obviously they'll have some kind of a beach set up with a gazebo, but then they always have a garden location, which they're kind of tucked away, which I think are just stunning, just some of those um, beach locations that they have. And then the property in Costa Mujeres, Elegance, and the new Mirage will have a sky terrace, which is just absolutely stunning for those couples that do not want to have their toes in the sand, but want to be able to see the water. There is a fee for that location, but then you'll be able to also use that area for your cocktail hour and then your reception.
Yeah. I've had just in this last summer, I had two weddings. One was actually in Costa Mujeres in the little gazebo that the water all sits around.
Yeah,
And, that had beautiful backdrops of garden, but
stunning.
still had the water aesthetics to it. She had probably 60 to 70 people, so they fit in there really nicely. I mean, you don't have to be on the beach,
Yeah, yeah.
and then the nice thing about the customer Harris property too is that, you can also use, their inside for the reception. So it's air conditioned during the summer months. And that really is a lifesaver for a lot of people.
Yeah, and majestic properties are not large. So, like Costa Mujeres, for instance, you have two buildings that are the family section, and then you have two buildings that are the adults only section. So, regardless of where you're staying, you're not a far walk from anything. So you'll be able to be with your friends and family. So it is a really, really nice property. As far as size, there are elevators. So if anybody has any kind of mobility issues, it's very, very easy to get around the property.
Yeah, I mean, and it's great that you can offer that family side or the adult only side because you always have people that really don't want to be on the family side and giving that option to do that on this property. And, all of them are that way, but it just gives you that feel, which is nice that you can still have both options at that resort.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I mean, speaking of customer Harris, besides the one garden terrace with the water, we talked about the rooftop terrace that they have. And then they also have a really, really great beach gazebo. That still you don't have to have your toes in your sand because it is cement out to the beach gazebo. And so you are in the sand, but you're not walking in the sand.
Yeah.
and you can decorate the gazebo as you need, or you can go on the beach itself and have its own, your own. But by using the gazebo that is on the beach, it saves you some money, so you don't have to pay for that structure. You can use that money to buy flowers or, any kind of fabrics or things like that.
Yeah, and the garden gazebo does not have a cost involved with it either. The only area that has a cost involved is that rooftop sky terrace.
Mhm.
And I tell my couples this all the time because you think of a destination wedding, you're thinking automatically the beach. But just keep in mind that your photographer can still take you down to the water and get those pictures for you. So don't feel that you have to have your wedding on the beach.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, there's, some just have that, that is their thing. They just want to be
Yep,
on the beach for everything. The last wedding that I did in June, that was theirs. They wanted to be on the beach for everything. They wanted the
yeah,
wedding on the beach. They wanted their reception on the beach in the sand and, the dance floor in the sand. You know, it works.
yep,
But it's whatever, it's
yeah.
whatever anybody wants.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
just why everybody's wedding is so unique and different.
mhm. You know,
But
the
there's options. Everybody has options.
Correct. And and the nice thing about it is, again, as we discussed it, you can a la carte everything with them, which is nice. I mean, you don't have to use pink flowers or, you get to pick from what you want, pay the upgraded costs, get bids on things. You're good to go.
Yeah, and what's also nice too is with all the a la carte options, like for instance, for the food for the buffet, there's three different levels.
Hmm.
So they're giving you options. So you
Hmm.
really, really do get to customize.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, depending on the numbers, sometimes they can do plated service, as
Yep.
well, but it all depends on the number of people you have. And that's something to keep in mind too. People don't realize, I know they think they want plated, but when you try to plate something for over 100 people, you're typically everybody's food's going to be cold. That's something to think about. I
Yeah.
mean, it just, depending on where they're bringing it from.
Exactly. Like for the beach, for instance. You're
Hmm.
doing something on the beach. Well, there's not a kitchen near the beach. So they're making a makeshift kitchen and trying to plate things that have already been semi-cooked. So everything is in the warmers. So it makes it a little more difficult where the buffet sometimes just runs a little smoother.
I will say this last wedding that I had, one thing that really stood out to me is, I mean, you and I do a lot of destination weddings and we've seen a lot of them. The one thing that really stood out to me was when it came time for the bride and groom to go up and get their plates. What I saw at Majestic Costa Mujeres was the two head waiters took them up, held their plates, and asked them what they wanted and filled their plates so they didn't have to worry about trying to mingle with all their items and hang onto their dress and everything like that. I think that
Yeah.
was the first time I've ever seen that at any resort. Most of them
Yeah.
just kind of do their own thing, or they serve the bride and groom at the table, whatever. But I thought that was really an added touch that really helped.
Yeah, and something else to keep in mind with buffets is you're going to be able to pick out a variety of different food options. Where when you're doing a plated dinner, the resort is pretty much asking you to pick one or two proteins.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you have somebody that maybe they don't like this or they don't eat that, sometimes it makes it a little more difficult. So sometimes the buffet is the better way to go because it gives your guests a little bit of variety of things to eat.
Exactly, exactly. And the one thing to think about this resort too is you can do everything from swim up rooms to your concierge rooms, adult only sections. Some of them even have butler level rooms. So I mean, just depending on what property, that's where we help guide you to figure out what's going to fit within all your budgets. The only thing about this resort that we found is they've been requiring a 4 night stay.
For Mexico.
Yep, for
Yeah,
Mexico.
for
Yep,
Mexico.
yep.
But honestly, if and Carol, like you, I kind of track everything. On average, I think you do see that majority of your guests do stay that 4 nights.
Yes.
You
I mean,
have
it's
not seen much pushback
no.
on that 4 nights.
No, I think I've had one, and it was a relative that she was caring for an elderly parent. She couldn't only come for the wedding, and they worked with us and they made an exception for the one person. But, that's something that to keep in mind, if you're strictly thinking Costa Mujeres and you only want the 3 nights, this resort might not be for you.
Right. Right. But the beach in the Costa Mujeres area is top notch. And I was just there back in September, and I stayed in a one-bedroom suite, oceanfront plunge pool suite, which was absolutely stunning. Like when you walked in the room on the bedroom level, you had the deck overlooking the ocean, but then there was a flight of steps up to a plunge pool area as well. So it was a really, really nice suite.
And and depending on, availability, of course, my bride and groom got upgraded to that the last time and they were
Yeah.
just ecstatic. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it all depends on availability, of course, as well. But, they got that at no extra cost.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the other thing that we kind of want to talk about, so basically the highlights for us staying at Majestic Resorts, it's romantic, it's fun, it's a full service property.
Yeah. And it really is a stunning, resort. The whether it's Punta Cana or Costa Mujeres, they really do put a lot into their properties. A lot more luxurious feel for what the price tag is.
Yes, yes. And so we kind of want to talk to you a little bit about what we have offering through us that you may not get somewhere else, for some key offers that we can offer if you book your wedding, destination wedding through us. One of them is the free anniversary stay for the couple once they book their wedding with us.
Yeah, and it is for the same room category that you're booking for your wedding for the same number of nights. Okay. So you're basically getting two vacations in one, and you will have 13 months to use your free return anniversary stay. But it has to be used at the same resort that you're doing the wedding at. So I tell my couples all the time, let's really dive in and look at these rooms because sometimes there's not much of a price difference between one room category to the second room category. So always think ahead because you're going to get that return anniversary stay when you book with either myself or Carol.
Yeah, and you're actually getting the two for one. Is how I look at it. It's a two for one vacation.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
always upgrade that room.
And right now we have that for group contracts. As long as they're booked before December 31st of 2025, you'll be able to get that added on as an added value. You have to have a minimum of 10 rooms, of course, and to have a group contract. And your wedding must take place on the property, of course, which, we're good on that. But your travel dates can go all the way through to 2027. So it's not too late to start doing those bookings now to get the best date that you want and the location that you want.
Yeah, and absolutely. And talking about dates, um, we're coming up on engagement season. Engagement season starts in November and goes through the end of February, beginning of March. So all those couples that are getting engaged over the next couple of months, they're going to be looking at those dates most likely in 2027. 2026, we've been booking those dates now for a while. Resort calendars usually open anywhere from like April through June. So even 27 has been open for a while. So over the next several months, we're going to be opening up 2028 dates.
Yeah.
So my point is, if you are looking for a specific date, you need to act fast because dates do fill up fast. And don't be afraid to think of that Thursday or Friday wedding. It doesn't necessarily have to be on a Saturday.
Or even a Monday, because then you
Yeah,
can come in on Saturday. Everybody can fly in on Saturday, have a day, have a wedding on Monday, they go home Tuesday. They're still missing the same number of days of work.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then we also offer a combinable offer as well, a promotion that would be $2,500 off. It's based on a promotion that we offer, based on the number of rooms that you have in your group, and we'll discuss that with you when we have our meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have certain resorts that participate in that promo. And the guests actually have to be paid and they have to travel in
Yes.
order to. But again, like as Carol said, we'll go into more of that in detail with you
Yeah.
when we meet with you and start talking to you about resorts.
And one thing to keep in mind, of course, just like anywhere, there's going to be blackout dates. Holidays are always a blackout date. And one thing to keep in mind too is, especially in Mexico, in a lot of the resorts, they're not going to let you have weddings over the Christmas holidays. We get a lot of that asks, hey, can I have my wedding on, New Year's Eve, or can I have my wedding on the 27th of December? And most resorts take that and they black those dates out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
absolutely.
that's just not available. That's not available to anyone. So,
And also too, you don't want to put that pressure on your guests. Like that is holiday time. People have plans, they're doing things. They may not necessarily want to be traveling during that time. It is the busiest weeks to travel. So your resorts are going to be crowded. I wouldn't suggest doing that.
no, no. And that's one thing that, that we have that you're probably not going to find. It's a really generous promo that we're offering. And so because it's a generous promo, a lot of brides are booking at those resorts. And so like we said before, you don't want to hesitate on that. So one thing that we're going to kind of talk about, we kind of talked a little bit about the ceremony, having a complimentary ceremony. Let's talk about a symbolic versus a civil wedding.
Sure. So I would say about 99% of couples do a symbolic ceremony. And the reason is depending on the destination, there may be legal requirements that you need to meet before being legally married in that destination. So, like for instance, Mexico, you need to be there 4 days prior, do blood workup, send in all this paperwork that has to be converted to Spanish ahead of time. Then they're going to send you your marriage certificate and all that stuff. And then that has to get converted back to English before you can go and register it at your local courthouse. The way the ceremonies are done, whether it's legal or symbolic, are exactly the same. So no one will know if you got married at your hometown courthouse prior to going to destination wedding. It's just going to save you a lot of time and headache.
Exactly. I always have, that's always one of the things. Well, my friend got married in Mexico. I'm sure it was legal. And it's like, probably not. But, I mean, it looks like it. I mean, you get a certificate. Everything looks and
Yeah.
feels like a real wedding. It's just the documents to change your name over for your social security card, for your insurances and things like that in the state. You can't do that if you don't do a civil wedding. So symbolic again, like I said, same thing, 98 to 99%. I've only done maybe in all the years I've done, I probably have done 5 civil weddings in Mexico.
Yeah. And also to say, for instance, you have a best friend that you want to do the ceremony, since it is symbolic, or a family member, they're able to do that for you as well too. You don't have to use the resort staff.
Exactly. Every time I've had one, it makes it more personable
Mhm.
because not having somebody that, they don't know stand up there and do the verses. This way they have somebody that actually knows them, can, actually do the service, and it's much more meaningful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, like we said, everything you can start off with a complimentary wedding at these resorts, or, you can a la carte it. When you meet with the wedding planners, you basically will get your invoices and you can decide what you can do without and do with, whatever meets your budget.
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes down to that budget.
Yep, it all does, definitely does. And that, we try to, before you even get into that, try to figure out, where are you at? What's the maximum amount of money you want to spend? Is this resort right for you? Is it going to fit your wedding budget for what you're asking? Because we always want to know what your vision is for your wedding. Sometimes they'll come up with something that, and they'll want a $4,000 wedding, but their vision is really going to be 15,000.
Mhm.
So, we'll try to explain to you, yeah, this is probably not going to fit this, but you could do this. And maybe another resort would be a better option for you. So that's one of the reasons that you use Mindy or myself as well, to just make sure that you're getting the right thing.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like, you've never done this before, so you have no idea of what things cost. I know one of the things I do is I provide my couples with a little catalog that's generic that I've kind of pulled from various resort brands, just to give you an idea of what things cost,
Mhm.
because you might be surprised at, like, from looking at this Pinterest picture, just how much all those different elements cost when you add it up all together.
Exactly. How much is that one flower that's up on the gazebo? How much does that cost just itself?
Mhm.
What can I do with? What can I do without? Because most of the time you're going to be able to fit it in your budget, but you have to be able to compromise some things if you
Yeah,
really want that resort. So
yeah,
those are things that we can help
absolutely.
you with. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of working on, trying to pick resorts that we can talk with, and recap, Majestic is luxurious, stunning venues, and an unbeatable promo through us. So that's one of the things that you want to keep in mind, as far as why you would stay at that resort or why you would choose that resort. If you're looking for those extra things that you're going to get at no extra cost to you, this is the place to go, as far as I'm concerned. If you want that extra stay, that gives you an anniversary stay. Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think in turn, what we're talking about for now is we're kind of thinking next week we're going to hit on Hard Rock hotels and resorts and explain to you what is all offered with them.
Yeah, and we also have a great exclusive promotion that we'll share with you for the Hard Rock Resorts, Ava, and Unico. But we're going to dive into each of those resort brands one by one.
Okay. And thanks again for joining us today. We're excited to share this journey with you guys, in hopes that we can help you delve through all the issues there are in planning a destination wedding.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe and visit Destination Wedding Talk for more resources.
And again, we're working on our YouTube pages, our TikTok, and our Facebook for behind the scene tips. And we'll go make sure once you get there, we'll make sure we put those links on our channels so that you're able to get to them.
Yep, absolutely. So again, as we already mentioned, our next episode, we are going to dive into the Hard Rock Resorts.
All right. Until then, happy planning, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more wedding inspiration and tips. Visit us at destinationweddingtalk.com for resources and updates. And as always, send us your questions to Mindy and Carol. We love hearing from you. Join us again next week for the latest episode of Wedding Talk with Mindy and Carol. Until then, happy planning.